G'day guys, and welcome to my tutorial on how to paint gold armor or gold trim. As an example, I've got my Blood Angel Captain right here, but for the painting, we will be using a Firstborn Sanguinary Guard. I will be pulling this guy apart. He's in pieces for sub-assembly, just for ease of paint. So we'll move on to the base coat after this. So we've pulled the Sanguinary Guard apart just for the purpose of this tutorial to make it easy to paint it. We've primed the model in Xandri Dust. Normally I'd use Retributor Gold Spray, but I don't have any, so Xandri Dust will work fine. We're going to apply a base coat of Retributor Gold from the pot. For this step, I am using a small dry brush from Games Workshop. So we're just going to apply the gold over the entire model, trying to move it around fairly fast so it doesn't dry out. I don't really thin this paint out when I'm applying it. I will base this guy. We're going to give him 2 coats of this, and then we'll come back for the next step. So with the 2 coats of Retributor Gold finished and dry, you should have a nice rich gold base coat to start with. Next, we'll move on to the washing of the model. So for the shades, we're going to be using an acrylic ink from Liquitex called Transparent Burnt Sienna. And then we're going to mix it with some of our Lahmian medium. Now you want a 2-to-1 mix here with more Lahmian medium than the acrylic ink. We'll apply this with a medium shade brush, and we're going to shade the whole model. Also, another good tip whilst using metallics and sort of regular colors like your shades is you want to have a separate pot to clean your brushes in, because you don't want to cross-contaminate your metallic colors into your other pot. So we're just going to coat the whole model here, which is quite easy. I should be able to do this through the whole clip. You don't want it to pool a lot, but pooling can add a little bit of depth to the model. So we'll apply this. It's best to let this stuff naturally dry. You don't want to force dry it either. So I'll do this over the whole set of legs, and we'll come back for the layering part. So with the wash or the shade dry, this is how your gold should look. It should have a nice sort of deep orange recessed shade. What we're going to do next is we're going to use our small artificer layer brush and we're going to apply a mixture of 1 part Lahmian medium and 1 part Retributor Gold. And we're just going to slowly layer back up some of the higher points on the gold. Now the idea behind the thin gold is still being able to see that sort of burnt sienna underneath, just to keep some of that depth in the gold. So I'll go around and I'll do this layer, probably just on this leg, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like, and we'll move on to the next step. So with the relayering of the gold, your model should look like this. After this step, it's can be beneficial to sort of go back and try and darken a few areas if you think there needs to be, the recesses need to be a little bit darker. So take these knees, for example, come back with your shade and just run a little line through there. Like so, just to darken that area up. And then what I'm going to do is actually get this and sort of glaze towards the bottom of this this leg here, just so it's got a little bit of depth down the bottom. Just because it's such a flat gold area, we'll just add a little bit down the bottom here. So we'll just have a little dark spot down there, and we'll do the same over the other side. And then I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like with that step complete. With the additional shade done and the little touch-ups to the recesses, this is how your model should look. So you can see there's a slight darkness down the bottom of that leg over there, and same over here. What we're going to do now is add another glaze layer. Again, we'll use the small artificer brush for this. The paint recipe is going to be 2 parts Retributor Gold to 1 part Stormhost, and you want to add maybe 1 more part of Lahmian Medium, just so this has still got a little bit of a glaze consistency. Now we're just going to be hitting the high points of the model here, so we'll just do this little boot here. And again, you're wanting to leave some of that previous color just so it sort of transitions. So it's going to be quite subtle on the camera, but this is really going to start to brighten that gold up. So we'll just sort of like hit the high point of that knee there. Hit the high point of this knee. And I'll go around the model and I'll complete all these steps. And we'll come back and we'll show you what it looks like. So with that step finished, what we're going to do now is do an edge highlight. For this, you're going to need your small artificer layer brush. And you're going to mix together 3 parts Stormhost silver to 1 part Retributor gold. What you're going to do is go through and just pick out all these edges on the armor. Just give them a little highlight. So basically as if you're just painting like one of my red armor tutorials, except with gold. But we're only going to do 1 highlight and a dot. So I'll go through and I'll edge highlight all these, come back and show you the model, and we'll do the final step. With the edge highlight finished, we are on to the final step of this armor. For this step, you're going to need a small artificer brush yet again. And all we're going to be doing is adding a dot highlight of Stormhost silver. So we're just going to try and pick out those points on the armor, like this little section here and here. Maybe at the top of the knee pad there. So there's not going to be a lot of edge highlights on sort of the rounded Sanguinary guard armor, but if you do find them, just give them a little dot, and then come back after I finish it and we'll just do a little review. So with your Stormhost silver dot done, you've finished your gold armor. It's looking suitably shiny now. This technique is quite good for painting gold aquillas or gold handles on weapons, or even shoulder trim. A good tip when you're painting this stuff is if you do go too light an area, you can always go back and darken it up with the previous coat, or vice versa. If it's too dark, just use the step and just lighten it up. This is the